Having soft water in an RV is neither impossible nor is it ridiculous or bougie, as I've heard some people say. If you've done any kind of camping out there, you guys know that campgrounds a lot of times just have terrible, terrible water. Getting around that terrible water at campgrounds is as simple as having a good filter and a good water softener, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. This is an on-the-go portable water softener, and although it's really small, as you can see here, it gives us all the soft water that we need, and it's super simple to take care of, to recharge and maintain, and it's very compact, and we can easily fit it in one of the storage bays on those underway days. So what I wanna do here is just walk through a regeneration process on this, walk through a backflush cycle on this, just to show you how easy this is to do. And the reason I'm starting this off with the backflush is because this thing's been sitting empty for a few weeks now, and I want to do a backflush on it just to get anything that has just settled out in there, just get that stuff out of there before I do a regeneration cycle on it and hook it back up to the rig. And all you need for the regeneration on these things is just a container of salt, iodized salt, non-iodized salt, whatever you want to buy from the grocery store. I'm going to do 2 of these today, again, because it's been a while since I've done this. But generally, when we're using this thing all the time, as long as I'm not dealing with super hard water, it's just generally 1 of these containers of salt that I have to do every week. So again, this regeneration process is really simple. I'm not going to talk through it. I'm just going to show you how to do it. And then once we get it in that regeneration cycle, we'll kind of step back and then we'll walk through how to determine how often you need to go through one of these regeneration cycles. All right, so I've already got this going on the backflush. I already recorded this once and then went back and realized I recorded it in slow motion, which is actually kind of a neat video, but it doesn't do you guys any good. So all I've done here is, because I'm going in backwards on this thing, I need a female adapter here because I got the male end of the hose and then the male end coming off of the water softener itself. So I just put that on there. I've got my hose connected up here, and then I'm just flushing this through, and I'm going to show you a little bit of this with the slow motion video, but you'll see initially when that water comes out, it's pretty brown, and that's why we want to do this backflush before we hook it up to the RV to just get all that crap out of there. And then the other thing is, you'll want to do a regular backflush on these. I don't remember what the instructions say. I usually do it about, I don't know, I think about every 8 weeks or so about every 2 months. I'll do a backflush on this just during one of my normal regeneration cycles. So that's just kind of the frequency that works out for us, and that's what I feel good about doing. All right, so that went for about 8 minutes, and I think we got all the bad stuff out of there. The next step of this is that we just need to disconnect the hose, turn this upside down, and just get all of the water out of it. Once all the water is out, we'll tip it back over, we'll start adding our salt, and we'll get into that regeneration cycle.
Da 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 da, hey! Da 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 da.
All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna bounce this thing off the ground a couple of times, get these beads that are gonna be probably clung to the top or to the bottom side of this lid, get those to drop back down into the softener. Then we're gonna open this up, pour our salt and our water in there. Then all we do is we just kind of put this on a trickle flow for about 30 minutes. And then at the end of that 30 minutes, we will do kind of another flush, not a back flush, just a normal flush here to just get the rest of the salt out of there. And then we'll test the water. We'll give it a little taste, make sure it doesn't taste salty. We'll test it for hardness. And then we should just be good to go to hook this back up to the rig. All right, so when you take this off, you will see some beads down in here, some of these softener beads. Don't worry about it if some of them get out onto the ground or whatnot. You want to keep as much in there as possible to keep your softener running efficiently, but they are non-toxic, so they're not going to hurt anything. So if you get some on the ground, no big deal. I normally, when I start putting the salt in here and dissolving it with the water, I just kind of rinse all those beads back down in there. So I'm just going to rinse those beads back down in there first. And then we just kind of add the salt here, a little bit of water to help it dissolve as it goes down. And like I said, I'm gonna use 2 canisters of salt here just because it's been a while since I've regenerated this, and I just like to make sure that I'm starting fresh here. All right, now we're just gonna put this lid back on. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hook this hose back up here, and then we're gonna put this just on a trickle flow. And what we wanna see here is really just a pencil-sized stream coming out of here. And like I said, we're gonna let that go for about 30 minutes. So there we go. That's about the flow that we want. It may be a little bit low, so I might let this go for just a few more minutes. The valve that I've got this coming off of, it's really hard to dial in a really low flow. So anyway, this is gonna go for 30 minutes. I might let it go for 35 again because the stream is so small. So while we're waiting on that, let's talk a little bit about how you know how often you need to be regenerating one of these water softeners. All right, there are really, I think, in my mind anyway, about 3 ways to do this. The first way is gonna be the more scientific method, if you will. And what you're gonna need for that is you're gonna need some of these test strips, which you're gonna need anyway, and want these to be able to test your water on a regular basis. But these test strips are gonna check for the total hardness of your water, and they're really easy to use. All you do is you take one of these test strips and you just dip it in like a shot glass full of water. You let it sit in there for about 2 or 3 seconds, you pull it out, and then you compare the color of the test strip to the colors on the back, and that will tell you the total hardness of your water. Now, the way we can use these to determine how often we need to regenerate is by determining how hard our water is before it goes through the softener. And then we have to determine approximately how much water we go through every single day, so every 24 hours. And of course, the way you can do that is just by using one of these digital flow meters, hook it up to the city water connection in your rig, and then just let it run for 24 hours and see how much water you use. The next thing you need to know is the capacity of your water softener. And this one is a 16,000 grain water softener. That means it can remove up to 16,000 grains of hardness in one regeneration cycle, meaning between regeneration days, it'll remove 16,000 grains of hardness. So now, what do we do with all that information? So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna test the hardness of the water first, and we're just gonna use some easy numbers here. So let's say we have very hard water and it's 25 grains per gallon. That means for every gallon of water we put through this water softener, the softener is gonna remove 25 grains of hardness. So what do we do with that information? Well, it's a pretty simple calculation. So this is a 16,000 grain water softener. So if we take that 16,000 and we divide that by the 25 grains per gallon, then that'll tell us how many gallons of water we can send through this water softener before it's depleted and you need to regenerate it. So you're gonna need a calculator for this. Luckily, everybody's got a calculator on their phone. So we just need to take that 16,000 grains, which is what the water softener is capable of, divide that by the 25 grains per gallon. That'll give us 640 gallons. So we can put 640 gallons through this water softener before we need to regenerate it. So it's been a while since I've looked at how much water we use on a daily basis, but generally the thumb rule I go by is that we're gonna use somewhere between 75 to 100 gallons of water a day. That's obviously not trying to conserve water. That's doing dishes all the time, rinsing our plates, you know, taking long showers, that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna use 100 gallons a day for myself and Candace combined. So, you know, 50 gallons a piece. So if we can send 640 gallons through this water softener and we're using 100 gallons a day, so that's a pretty simple calculation. We just divide that 640, divide that by 100. So we can go about 6.4 days between regeneration cycles on this water softener. Now, like I said, that's the more scientific method, but I mean, honestly, it's still kind of a swag because these test strips don't give you a super accurate number for how many grains per gallon. I mean, it goes from 0 to 1.5 to 3, 7, 5, 15, and then 25. So you're kind of in a ballpark number, even when you're doing that calculation. But at any rate, that's how you do it. So if that's the method you want to use, now you know how to do it. The second method here is less scientific, if you will, and that's just do it once a week. I think that's probably a safe bet for most people, unless you've got a large family, you know, 3, 4, 5 people taking a shower every single day, then you may need to do it every 3 or 4 days. But you know, for Candace and I, about once a week is about the right frequency for us. Anything longer than that and the water just starts to feel hard again, and we can feel it on our skin and we can taste it and even smell it in the water. And then that just brings us straight into the third method here, which is to really just go by feel. When the water feels or smells or tastes like it's getting hard, then just go regenerate your water softener. It's that easy. And honestly, we probably use a combination of the last two methods. You know, I do it once a week, but if I feel like after 3 or 4 days for some reason that water's getting hard, I'll just go ahead and regenerate it. These boxes of salt, they're only about, I think, 79 cents at the grocery store. So if I have to run 1 or maybe 2 through there every week, it's not like I'm breaking the bank. You know, it just takes a little bit of time out of my day, and I really don't mind doing it anyway. So there you go. That's really all there is to it. The calculation method, you can do that if you want, but it's really kind of unnecessary if you just kind of go by the feel of it. And after you've had this for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, you'll really get the feel for how long this thing will go. And again, it's going to depend on where you're at. Some places have just super hard water that is probably even off the charts of these scales on here on the test strips. And then other places are gonna have really soft water. I've been in a couple of campgrounds where I didn't even hook the water softener up because they already had soft water. So it's really just gonna depend on where you are, what their water is like, and kind of how much water you're using on a daily basis. So this thing's probably got about another 20 minutes or so. So once this is done, we'll come back out here, we'll give it another flush, and then we'll test the water to see where we're at, and we'll compare it to the water before it comes into the softener to see what kind of difference is being made here. All right, so this is going for about 35 minutes now, and now I'm just going to turn that water up all the way and let it flush for about another 8 to 10 minutes. And then we'll kind of taste it, see if it's still salty. And then if we're good, then we'll test it. And then we'll get everything just hooked back up to the rig. All right, so I just like to give her a little bit of a taste test here to make sure that the water's not super salty, that we got it all out of there. And then if it tastes all right, then we'll go ahead and test it and make sure that we got soft water coming out of here. Yep, tastes good. So let's get a test strip and see what we got. All right, so I'm just gonna get a little bit of water in the glass, and we're gonna take this test strip, just dip it in for a couple of seconds, and then we're gonna compare it to our scale here of hardness. And there we go. That is all the way down, pretty much as close as you can get to that 0 grains per gallon or 0 parts per million. So we're good here. I'm just gonna turn this water off, stop flushing it, and then I'm gonna get it hooked up to the rig. I'm not really gonna show that process. I mean, you guys can figure out how to do that, I guess, on your own. All right, so before I wrap this up here, I just wanna talk about, I guess, why you would want one of these water softeners. I think if you're interested in one of these videos, you probably already know why, but if you just kind of come across this, then maybe you don't know why you'd want a water softener. I know a lot of people don't have soft water, never have, but soft water, it just feels better on your skin. You know, when you're taking a shower, you use less soap, you use less shampoo, all of those things, because things just lather up more easily when you've got soft water versus hard water. And of course, this is a matter of opinion, but I like the way that soft water tastes far better than hard water, especially when you're in those campgrounds and it's super hard. So I just like the way that it tastes better. It even smells better. And then the other thing is it's better on your clothes when you wash them. It's better on your dishes when you wash them. You get less water spots, all that kind of stuff. So those are kind of the benefits that I see as far as having a water softener goes. And again, I just want to reiterate, you know, we're not trying to push this product on anybody. The idea is to just introduce products to you guys that really make the RV life a little bit easier, again, especially when you're living in these things full time. But then of course, again, I will put the link to this water softener down in the description area, the Amazon link, and you can go check it out if you want. If you don't want to get this one, that's fine, buy a different one. Again, this was the On The Go brand water softener. So if you want to check it out, go right ahead. If you want to get a different brand, that's fine too. But we just wanted to take the opportunity, since I had to do this today anyway, put a little video together, show you guys what this is all about, show you how easy it is to do this. It's not quite as easy as your home water softener, but you know, those things are automatic. These are a little bit more manual process, but still they are pretty easy to regenerate, pretty easy to take care of. And overall, they're just a nice thing to have as an accessory to your RV. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and then make sure you hit that bell button. That way you're notified of all of our future videos. So until that next video, happy camping and stay safe out there, guys.